Hi friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So today we're going to be taking a look at the last G.I. Joe Classified Series action figure that I have in hand. I'm crossing my fingers that the USPS gods smile on me and that I get my packages soon, or that I get really lucky out in the hunt over the weekend. But one way or another, I have a lot of toys to talk about, so we'll do our best. And we could get a little bit lucky because this Friday, remember, will be my second ever toy haul live stream. So we won't be doing a regular review this Friday, so that buys us a little bit of time on Joe's. If you guys are interested in watching that live stream, it will be this Friday the 4th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're interested in knowing when announcements take place or where announcements are, I usually put them on my Facebook page, which you can find at Annoying Car. And I'm going to try to do something on the channel here. I think that I can schedule it. I've never tried to do that before, but we'll figure it out. I will remind you guys again at the end of this video. It will be Friday the 4th at 7 p.m. I will do a live stream toy haul to show you all the things that I picked up this week. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and take a look at our Duke, which I am really excited about. There's a bunch of reasons I saved him in the series of what I actually have for last, and that's because he is iconic Joe. So I felt like this was going to really be sort of the standard for me of what we can expect from the series. And if the series overall was a success or failure, in a lot of ways felt like it would come from Duke for me. And I'm not 100% sure why that is, but I really just feel like he's the most iconic, sort of all-American, if you will, character in the series. And I really just have really high expectations and sort of requirements for this figure to be successful. So I was really excited to take a look at him. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. We're going to look at everything that we normally do, but two of the main things I'm going to talk about in this review actually came from my comments section. And there's one person in particular whose name I got. Another person I'm going to have to look up, and I will put their name in the description of this video. But I've gotten some really great comments and I've learned a lot from them, and this figure is going to be the one that I share some of the information that I've been getting from my followers. So if you guys have comments to share, if you notice things, if you have information to share, my comments, it's wonderful to hear all of your compliments, and I'm always so grateful for those, and I try to comment on those too. But it's not just a place to compliment me and tell me I'm doing a great job. It's also a place to share information that I may have missed, or things that I might not know, or things that could make my videos better. So I'm really appreciative to the people who use my comment section any way that they choose to, as long as you're not mean, but I haven't gotten any people like that really yet. So thank you to my commenters, because a couple of you are really responsible for the things I'm going to talk about in this video. With all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at our Duke. So Duke is really, let's be real, the icon of G.I. Joe. Like, this is the figure, the character that you sort of see on the forefront of all of the classic Joe sort of iconography, the cartoon, at least the Real American Hero. He was sort of like the main image that we got on all of those figures and merchandise and the cartoon. And he really is sort of just like truly the all-American, you know, the Real American Hero. So I had really high expectations for this figure, and as with all of the Joes, I don't want to be boring in saying that I'm not disappointed, because there's still a lot to talk about, but I'm just really impressed again with what Hasbro has put together on this figure. And quite frankly, going through all of the ones that I've seen now, so I've looked at 2 Roadblocks, I've looked at Scarlet, and I started with Snake Eyes, which was a stunning figure. I think that Duke might be my favorite. I think that he hits all of the right notes, the way that he looks, the colors, the paintwork. Now there are some things, and this is from my comments, that I want to talk about that really sort of bug me now, and now I understand more fully why. So when I did the Scarlet review, I was talking about the paintwork, and I was talking about how there were so many conflicting colors that while overall I ended up liking her design and liking the way that she looked, it was a little bit busy and a little bit loud. And I mentioned how people kind of didn't like the bright gold metallics. It was like a little bit flashy. And someone mentioned in my comments, now this is the person whose name I didn't get, and so I'm going to mention their name in the description. Thank you to this commenter, that when you're thinking about military or obviously like classified level, operatives, they don't want to stand out. They need to be camouflaged. And bright, shining shin guards that are metallic and catch the sunlight are probably some of the most impractical gear that you could put on this type of individual. And that's just the kind of thing, that's the kind of thinking that I think is, I really appreciate. And it's something I probably would have never thought of. And the person that said that changed the way that I was looking at these. I was like, yeah, it's kind of an update. It's kind of neat. But if you're going to update and upgrade, make it practical. Make it make sense to what the characters are doing. And do you really want to have a full third of your gear be bright, sun-catching, metallic, shiny material? And I think probably not. So to whomever said that, I'm going to put your name in the description. I really appreciate that kind of thought. That could be the kind of thing that was in the back of my mind that kept me from really being blown away by it. Now on Duke here though, we're not getting this shiny bright gold that we got on Roadblock and Scarlet. It's much more muted. It's more like a pewter. There is like some bronzy effects to it. But in that upgrade that they tried to give to these figures, they really made a misstep there. And while the sculpt still looks really cool, yeah, these things should not be metallic by any stretch. They should definitely be some sort of mattified like army green or brown, or I mean even this sort of khaki color of his shirt. There's all kinds of options, but this is a weird choice. Although I will say that these are dulled down enough that it's a little bit less pertinent than it was on Scarlet for sure. But thank you for that comment because it really affected the way that I looked at the figure. But looking at Duke from top to bottom, the facial sculpt, first of all, is probably my favorite. Actually, not probably. It is absolutely my favorite. I think it has the least misses. It's really effective. He looks stern and strong and age appropriate, which was a problem for me with Scarlet. He has this really cool scar, which is going to be hard to pick up, I think, that goes right down his eye here. I think that's the right side. Yeah. So he's got a scar. He's got a really sick fade haircut, like a nice military haircut. But he's also got low lights. They put some real depth and detail into the paintwork in his hair and his face. He's got a furrowed brow. He just looks serious and military. I don't know how else to describe it, but the sculpt is really, really good. Really good. And I'm going to go ahead and start to like disassemble all of the gear that he's got. But I wanted him to have everything on so you could see the way that this figure works with all of his different gear on. So we're going to try to get him in here again. There we go. So his gun, it has the metallic on it too. This teal blue, now in light of everything, that I've had a chance to look at everything, the metallic sort of bugs me, and it is not functional, but the teal blue really kind of, I don't really get either. So that's a little something, but the weapon is really good looking. You can see that he can hold it really well. We'll go ahead and take that out of his hands and take a look at the weapon on its own, just to like get an idea. We've got just a really nice rifle with a scope. It's good looking, and this is, on Cobra Island Roadblock, they put some really good detail on his weapon, but for most of the weapons, we're getting a really simple, just molded weapon without a lot of paint detail. So this is probably the second most detailed, and it looks really, really nice. I'm happy with it. It's sturdy. It's not flimsy at all. So this is a really nice accessory that I'm happy to have. He also comes with this pack. And I really like how tactical it is. It makes sense. It has things on it that you would actually think that you would need if you were on a mission. He's got this little shovel. There's canteens. It's not just weaponry. It's, field gear that you would need. And this actually pegs into his back. So we'll take a look at that. You can see there's a peg there. And there's the hole for it. So that is a nice additional piece of gear. I also really like the color. I like that they're using sort of like army green colors on him, which we did not see on Roadblock or on Scarlet. So I really like that this has like a military vibe that makes sense to me personally. That's just a preference. Then he's got in his holster here, he's got a pistol. And the pistol even has paintwork and detail on it, which I can't think of a pistol that I've ever seen painted and detailed. You know, normally we just get the sculpted one. So this is really nice. It looks good. And again, it's a very sturdy, inflexible accessory. So the accessories on him are fantastic. The final accessory that we have is this binocular that clips, it pegs in actually to his belt. So there's the spot for it. And was this really necessary to be done this way? I don't think so. There's sort of a monocle that you look through, or it's like a single pane that you look out of, and then here's the side that you look into. So it's like a binocular, because there's two spots to look through one side, but it looks out one side. I don't know. Was this really necessary to have to clip on the belt? Not really. I think they were just trying to make us feel like we were getting more, but I'll always take an add-on. So it's nice to have something. You'll probably never remove this, just leave it on his belt, but it's pretty cool. Not the most necessary accessory, but I'm always happy with accessories. My accessories bin gets a lot of use. So then everything else that he has is this thigh holster here. He's got this belt, which does not come off. I don't think this has a clip off, no. And then he's got this like bandolier, kind of. And you can see it also makes use of the metallic paint and the teal here as well as the army green. So all of the accessories are fantastic and work really well. And while we are seeing it, I'm beginning to question sort of the design work as far as the paint goes. You know, while I'm really happy to see that they're using more like military, like army green, like his pants and this color, that really harken to the 80s, especially this vibrant green really reminds me of 80s like army guys that I used to play with and G.I. Joe action figures from the 80s. There's still kind of a lot going on color-wise. So I'm really interested to kind of I wish I could pick the brain of someone at Hasbro to explain why they went with so many colors. Why, although I will say that dukes out of everyone's make the most sense. So he has this watch that is a military watch. It's like obviously sort of, I don't know, maybe like a Swiss Army thing. It's fluorescent orange. The red on his gloves and the red stripes. The red stripes on his shirt, I can kind of understand. Those could be some sort of like rank designation. He also has like a little gold patch here or a little gold medal. On his gloves, I don't understand it so much. So, and then with the metallic, it's like that's where it starts to get busy. So then there's like this red detail, the metallic shin guards with the teal blue stripe, and it starts to get a little bit crazy when everything really could just be this awesome khaki green and sort of dark green and look really, really spectacular. So I appreciate that they were trying to modernize it and bring it up and maybe elevate the look of a G.I. Joe a little bit, but at the same time, I appreciate common sense, and some of this is a little bit over the top for me. I'm saying all of this to say that that is the only complaint that I have about this figure, is that, you know, maybe the paintwork is a little bit loud and a little bit too much, because everything else about him is perfect. And we're gonna do articulate points now, and we'll get into another comment and something that I learned that is spectacular about this figure. So when we're looking at the head, we have a really good look down, an excellent look up, and we have nothing hindering any of this. So he can look all the way up to the sky, and there's no shirt or chest or anything. All of this is molded plastic. He doesn't have any vinyl here. So the only vinyl on him is are in his accessories. In his arms, he's got a great lateral lift that we like to see, and you can see he has all of the turning points. So we can turn up here in the shoulder, turning in the bicep, double jointed elbows that we always get on our male figures, which is great. We've got a wrist that bends forward and back and turns all the way around. So the arms are fantastic. In the torso here, with his accessories on, he gets a really great bend forward. So since he just has this one singular strap, we're not going to get any sort of obstruction in his movement forward and back. As you can see, he can bow forward and lean back well. He has a 360-degree turn in the waist. And what's so funny, somebody reminded me while I was playing or talking about these figures that when we were kids, they used to have a rubber band inside. And so you could turn them and then they would bounce all the way back. So, which is such a funny way to have done it. But these turn 360, no rubber band. It's so funny. I'm trying to think about what we did with those when the rubber band broke, or if it ever broke, because that's just how they were. So here is the mechanic that I learned about from a subscriber named Figlock. Hi, Figlock. I want to thank you so much for your very thoughtful and detailed comments. So this is a mechanic that we have been enjoying and taking advantage of with all of the G.I. Joe Classified Series figures I've looked at without even realizing it or using it properly. And it is the drop-down hip articulation. So in his hip, we're going to push the belt up so you can see it. We can actually pull the hip directly down. Do you see it separate there? And what that allows, so here we have the left hip is up. Sorry, I want to get good focus here so that we can see. There we go. So the left hip is up and the right hip is dropped down. That is by design. So the way that we've been taking advantage of that is when I go ahead and do this lateral lift. Once it gets to a certain point, it sort of drops down, and that's what allows you to get that last little bit of height. But that's not really the way to use it. So I've been doing that, not knowing that I was taking advantage of this drop down hip. Here's what it looks like when they're both dropped down. What that allows for is like a whole range of motion and movement in the hip that I'm not able to show very well here, but you can see it opens up that whole joint so that you can do things like there's a range of kicking that you can do. It just opens up the entire hip joint. You could actually see it there for a second when I opened it up. See? It separates. So you can push it up to get, you know, this would probably be how you would want to just stand, is to push those hips up close. So if you're just having him stand on your shelf, holding his weapon, looking forward, then you've got this. If you're doing an action shot where he's kicking out, you go ahead and drop this hip down like this. I can't keep this belt up, so it's really difficult to see, but you're gonna drop the hip down and then you've got this whole hip joint open to do whatever you want to do with, so you can get great action poses out of it. It's really, really cool mechanic, and it's something that you can take advantage of without even realizing it. But once it was pointed out to me, again, thank you, Figlock, it really like opens up the possibilities for the figure. I'm going to try to get this belt up so that we can actually see well how this works. So here we go. And then we've got the pull down. Do you guys see that? So this is a mechanic that is on all of the Joe figures and Scarlet, and it opens up the hip so that you can get a variety of action type, moving sort of looking poses, which is absolutely incredible. And a mechanic that if they start to, I really want to see these in Marvel Legends. You guys know I mostly talk about Marvel Legends, but I'm expanding a lot because not a lot is changing over there. So I'm really hoping that these are the types of innovations and thoughtful additions to articulate movement that they start bringing to all of those figures, because the articulation on the G.I. Joe Classified series for me is really what makes these super successful, fun figures. And I want to start seeing Hasbro do that with all of their figures. So finally, one more time, thank you Figlock for pointing that out to me. Check all of your Joes for the drop-down hips, because that drop-down hip articulation is a game changer for getting amazing action poses. And then we have we'll just go through real quickly, the normal hip turn, the knees. We do have the boot turn, even though he's got the shin guard there, and then a full range of motion in the foot. So for me, this was the figure that I really expected to have it all and be the iconic G.I. Joe Classified Series figure, and it is. It's really successful. I think the best part for me is the more traditional color and look of his uniform and the facial sculpt. I think the facial sculpt is really the best part and what really sells this figure as Duke for me and makes him a believable G.I. Joe character. So I still have yet to be disappointed overall in the G.I. Joe Classified Series. I'm crossing my fingers that I'm going to be getting my Destro. You know, what can you do about that? I ordered it from a company that said they had it in stock, and then after a week I got a message saying that they weren't shipping because of COVID, which is a little befuddling to me. Putting something in a box and putting it in the mail shouldn't be affected if you have it in stock. So they sent an apology but still have not shipped my item. So we might do on Friday, depending on where my Destro is, we might do a little bit of spill the tea on this company and reveal who they are, because, you know, I'm always trying new people. And quite frankly, I talk about BBTS so much because they're the only ones that have consistently worked for me. All that said, you guys, Duke is a fantastic figure. I'm really happy with him. All of his accessories are perfect. Everything works the way that it should. I learned about a whole new point of articulation that these Joes have that are fantastic. And I'm really, really just over the moon, really pleased with this line so far. So that is that on Duke. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your story is with your other Joes. Are you guys finding them now? Should I just start hitting the pavement? I'm going to be pre-ordering from BBTS every time they announce, just to make sure that I get the bare minimum, because they always take really great care of me so far. The COVID crisis hasn't really seemed to affect them in the same way that it's affecting others that I've tried to work with. But let me know how you guys are coming across these. Remember, on Friday the 4th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'll be doing a live stream toy haul, and there's a lot to talk about. And I'm going to keep doing videos every couple of days. I set up a schedule to do a video every other day, but I have enough that, again, we would get really backed up if I did them so slowly. So I might pick up the pace and start doing a video every day over the holiday weekend. So make sure that you have your notification bell turned on and are subscribed to my channel so you never miss anything that I'm doing. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments. You guys really, you keep me educated and you keep me motivated to keep learning, and I'm just having so much fun. Thank you guys for everything, and I will be back soon with another one. Bye, friends.